Have you ever heard someone complain that a claim isn't falsifiable? Have you ever thought, why is that a bad thing? Surely, if it can't be falsified, it must be true? Let's explore falsifiability to understand why people say that and what you can learn about testing whether things are true from this idea. Suppose that Jill here were to claim that there are fairies at the bottom of your garden. These fairies, Jill says, are completely invisible. They don't make any sounds or smells. You can't touch them, and they don't move anything. Suppose that Jill were to claim when anything bad happened in your house, it happened because the fairies were displeased. And when anything good happened, it happened because the fairies were pleased. But she couldn't tell in advance whether any particular thing would please or displease the fairies. This is an example of an unfalsifiable claim. It's unfalsifiable because the claim is consistent with any possible evidence. You can't go to your garden and say, I don't see any evidence of fairies, therefore there aren't fairies, because these fairies, Jill claims, are invisible and have no effect on your garden or anything else. You can't say something bad happened even though the fairies were pleased, because Jill can't tell beforehand when the fairies will be pleased or not. In other words, a world in which Jill's fairies exist is identical in every way to a world in which Jill's fairies don't exist. Jill's claim can't be proven false, but that's because it doesn't contain any information about what it would mean for it to be true. Any claim like this, where the world is exactly the same if the claim is true as if the claim is false, is meaningless. And a meaningless claim can't have any consequences. So if Jill says, you shouldn't eat cake because there are fairies at the bottom of the garden, you know that Jill hasn't given you a valid reason not to eat cake. Now, suppose that Jill were to make a claim about these fairies that gave it some meaning. Suppose that she said that these fairies would eat any apples left out in the garden overnight. When Jill makes this sort of claim, there's now possible evidence that's inconsistent with it. We can leave apples out in the garden overnight, make sure that no people or animals can get into the garden, then check back the next morning to see whether they're gone. If the apples are still there, this is inconsistent with Jill's claim being true. The claim has been disproven. So Jill's claim about fairies can't be true unless it risks being proven false. And this idea that only claims that could be proven false can ever be true doesn't just apply to fairies. It applies to literally everything. And that's why a claim being unfalsifiable is a bad thing, not a good thing. Can you think of any way that Jill might try to change her claim about the fairies eating apples overnight to make it unfalsifiable? Let us know in the comments. If you liked this video, check out our other videos on critical thinking and liberal values, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this one.